myself a promise, I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters, and we ain't got nothing to hide.
What up? What up? What up? Welcome into Pregaming here on Sports Money. Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. We got to keep it rolling. Rain, sleet, or snow, pregame stays good to go. You know the deal. That's why we all check in here at 6 p.m., getting ready for the late card here, the evening card, if we will. And days like today, I'm reminded why I stopped betting soccer and tennis. Man, what a breakdown out there we had. A couple plays given out to the members of Premium Plays. Got an easy casher with the PSG minus 1.5. Should have gone up to the minus 2.5, but it's a winner nonetheless. Then our draw gets spoiled at Man City with 5 seconds to go for a plus 300. Oh, that stings. Literally, there was no time left, and I just hate that uncontested stoppage time, lets the team finish out the drive. We got to put some regulation around that, but nonetheless, it lost. So we break even on the day early in the afternoon. Tennis play, I think it's postponed till tomorrow. Buenos Aires. I thought they had reasonable time. Turns out they don't. Buenos Aires has been delayed till tomorrow. We have 24 hours or so until that game is going to pop off. So here we are tonight with a big slate in college hoops and a monster slate in college hoops. Always like to have a big game flow to work with, the big game plan out there. And I think we do. We've got ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe a 6th college basketball game for tonight's slate. It's a big one. I like what we're looking at. I like the numbers we're seeing. I think there's some, look, yesterday was kind of those mid-major programs. We dominated that college basketball slate, but tonight we got to put the big boy pants on and try to go after these Blue Bloods is what it comes down to. Then we got ourselves 3 plays in the NBA, Toronto and Philadelphia. We got the Knicks and the Pacers for the TNT extravaganza. And a parlay to close things off. Just under 2-1. Just under 2-1. It's just sides. No player props here. We'll have some player props. Got to get back in and dig into this card a little bit more with the TNT game because you know what happens here. We're going live tonight. We'll be live on Kick, where we're going to kick the bookies right in the behinds. We're not quite 8 minutes in, but it's going to be fun. You know the deal. We'll get out there. We'll be showing the games and making some live bets as we go. Have a same game parlay that I want to just get some finishing touches on for that spot and a whole bunch of other live bets along the way. I literally have a card of college basketball. If you're wondering why should I join the live show if I just heard you? Well, here's why. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25 college basketball games that I've either got action on, circled for live betting, or strike prices that I'm trying to take advantage of. We're going to cover 6 of them here. Yeah, 25. Crazy. Crazy as it sounds, though, I don't think it's that crazy. I think that there's this is our time. This is that time of the year. Some of these teams are seeing each other for the second time go around. They're in conference play. We start to see who they are, who they're not, and we can get some trends and ride that coattail. So we're going to keep our eyes on 25 basketball games. I'll tell you what, probably could have easily been 35. I don't know that I want to have all that action out there pre-flop. So that's what the live shows are all about. Probably get upwards of 35. That's just me. That's just me. You know, the boys like to bet some volume as well. So we'll see what happens, man. I'd say 35. There's at least another 6-pack of games. I love tonight's college basketball slate. NBA, listen, full disclaimer, not so much. I don't like any of the teams playing. I like the sides that we have. I think there's some good plays I'm not sure about the props. They're all getting juicy. It's tough. It's tough to get paid in the NBA, but that's what we're going to do tonight. So it's going to be a big night. You can see here, big card lined up early. And we want to keep it rolling late. So make sure you guys get ready to go. We're going to pop off at about 7:30. I got to shout out my guy, Redbeard, right off the drop here, coming out with a gifted sports money membership, helping us build our sports money community and doing it selfishly by coming in, being ready to go, giving us best bets, sharing trends, sharing size, doing the homework, and then coming in and giving us a gifted sports money membership. Let's see who got that sports money membership as we pop the show here. Pop the top, as they say. And it goes to Sewanee Steakhouse. I can go to Steakhouse. I can go to Steakhouse right now. Except I wouldn't make it back by 7:30. I go to the Steakhouse. It's a 5-6 course extravaganza. We don't even leave the bar to get to the tables for an hour. True story. It gets expensive. It gets costly, but who doesn't like themselves a steakhouse? They're always good. Like a ribeye. You know my ribeyes. Appreciate everybody that is here rocking and hanging out. Shout out to Sewanee Steakhouse and appreciate our guy Redbeard gifting that sports money membership. Man, oh man, what a day, huh? What a day. We had, 4 UCL games to kind of start the slate, a couple of tennis plays as well. It's funny. I had 4 tennis plays that I really liked. I put them in a parlay. Then I kind of cut it down to 2. One of them starts later. One of them is on that delay till tomorrow. So it's just a little frustrating. Money's tied up there it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter when I want to bet 35 games, but I'm not going to bet 35 games here on the pre-flop. So it is what it is. We also have the 4 Nations tournament starting tomorrow. A lot of animosity towards this thing here. All I got to say is either A, your country's not in it, or B, you don't like to watch the best of the best represent their country. That's it. There's zero downside. Why? Because we don't get to watch Minnesota play the San Jose Sharks for 2 weeks? Just settle down. We're going to have hockey rolling right into the month of June. You can take 2 weeks and let me enjoy the way I like to see this thing go, and that's the best out there going at each other head-to-head representing their flag. Sharp jerseys get out there. They'll be playing games. I said yesterday, Montreal. They'll have some games out of Boston as well. It'll be fun to see these 4 nations out there, man. Team Canada looks primed. I think I heard Ramon talking about Team Finland. I took a second look at that roster after I heard him kind of double down on his conversation there. I don't disagree, but listen, I'm all red, white, and blue. And that's it for me. So good luck to anybody else that's going to go out there. I'll tell you, probably the best way to bet this thing. We'll have a brief conversation today, and then we'll talk about the plays tomorrow. And you probably got to load up on Canada. I told you, first and foremost, Canada's got to battle back after that shoddy World Junior performance that they had out there. And there's a lot of pride in Canada. All they got is hockey and curling. Maybe figure skating. Maybe the luge. I'm not sure. But what I do know is they got to bounce back. They can't be happy. They've got a lot of black cloud hanging over that Canadian Hockey Federation. And they're priced at plus 150. So it sucks, which means you have to dump the truck. But the benefit of dumping the truck is you can watch how the round robin goes and try to find yourself a neutralizer, a little hedge bet. Maybe you catch Finland. Maybe they are 5-1 when they get to the next round of this thing. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. Probably is Canada. That first line just looks dangerous. They were asking some of those first. They were asking Marchand. They said, "What do you give teams for advice against Canada's first line?" He said, "You better go out there and score goals early." In fact, he said, "You better score 3 goals early and then hope that your special teams can do what they have to do to stop everybody else from scoring." So, yeah, it's a real deal. I told you they got like 1,000 points between that whole first power play line. Goals and assists. They got. It's like 197 goals. It's like 350 assists. I don't know. I'll round that up to 1,000. That Team Canada roster looks sharp, but we'll see what happens when they get into the prime of play. We got to get to the prime of this play tonight so we can get back to what we have to do and get moving down the line for the late night, the live stream here, 7:30 TNT. Doesn't matter. We'll be streaming the games. You know the deal. That's why we go to kick. That's why we go to kick with our friend Razor Sharp Picks. And listen, ultra important. Muy importante. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. This is how we grow this channel. And we got to stay relevant. We got to stay in the forefront of this YouTube algorithm. So I need everybody to step up. If you haven't done so already, close the chat, smack that thumbs up button, then pop the chat back open so we can go to work. Super important to follow us at Sports Money Wins if you haven't done so already. That's where the notifications go out when we drop content. Listen, I released all the premium plays that I had today for the afternoon premiums for bronze, silver, and gold level membership. So if you're still a bronze member, haven't upgraded yet, we're not up today. We're 1-1, but we're no juice. We didn't get bigged out. And hopefully we can cash that third leg, albeit I guess tomorrow is the way that's going to shake out. So let's go. Let's get to the business of the business here. You guys know the deal. Get that pen and paper ready. The absolute best in the business assemble here. They're ready to give you their best bets. And we're going to talk about what those pregame plays are in the chat. A couple things I did want to recognize, though. Where's the good old BetStamp? You can follow me at BetStamp, like money at BetStamp. And 6-2 in one day yesterday. We lost the three-leg parlay with the Zion over 23.5 points, Portis over 21.5 points, and Lauri Markkanen over 5.5 rebounds. Not a single one of them cashed. Probably the first time I've done a three-legger. Plus, if you straight played them, you got juiced. Orlando Magic were up and down, back and forth, 112-105. They lose that game out to the Atlanta Hawks. Hawks, we talked about they were running hot. They might still be running hot, but we dominated from there. We pushed that first half of Sacramento. They were down that whole first quarter, so I guess we'll take the push. End up coming back and winning the game. So I don't know. Did they even come back? I mean, they were down that whole first half, I guess, is what it comes down to. Excuse me. Excuse me. Get choked up thinking about this college hoops card. And we smacked the board in college basketball. This is where we heat up. I told you. Let's just talk about this shit. We do this shit on the regular. Clemson minus 4.5. They bust them boys up by 20. UNC. Joe, we talked about the Duke comparison. FAMU bust up Prairie View. They're plus 2.5 point dogs. They win the game by 12. On the road, they go into Prairie View's barn and they smoke them. We caught the Golden State minus 7. Golden State comes out there. They win by 14. We talked about just this. They flipped the switch. They figured out how the roles, the ratios were going to work out. Who's going to carry the ball? Who's going to pass it around? Who's going to do what and how? And they go out there and they handle Milwaukee, the Algonquins, for the good land. Christian Braun. There's a reason he's in the starting three. Goes out there and gets, what did he get, 26 points last night? So we talked about this. Hey, they cover. We get the plus 151. We had Christian Braun over 16.5 points. That was even money. And the Denver money line. Did share with everybody. Taking 20 plus and the minus 9.5 on Denver. Probably not going to be a problem. And it wasn't a problem. I cashed too. So if you read between the lines, there was some big money out there. Big money came in for us at plus 241 on the Houston Cougars. First half minus 4.5. And the first half over 61.5. Busted them boys up. Busted them up. What was it? 38-30 in the first half, I think was that first half score. And then, look, who doesn't get excited about a nightcap? 11 p.m., that means I'm staying up till 1:30 or so watching Nevada house Fresno State, 94-69. They bust them up by 25 points. We laid 15.5, comfortably laid 15.5. Talked about it. That team just didn't match up well. They tried at home, and they still lost. They're going to go on the road and miraculously find a way to thread the needle. Not happening. And that's how we cash. That's exactly what we did. We're going to do it again tonight with Big Card. Let's get to work. Let's get those plays in the chat. I see Joe T's ready to go. Commenter numero uno. And he's going Northwestern in Oregon. He's going the over 141 for our guy, Jover. J.O., appreciate Jover being out there with the first comment. 99.4% first comment ratio, by the way. We're going to do some revamp. Excuse me. We're going to revamp a little bit on the community polls. Going to try to bring some more polls for you guys. Football's over. We got a whole bunch of basketball to sample. Now we got player props. We got the NBA. We got the NHL. We'll get all those in play So make sure you do check out the post section. Is it still called the post section? I know Ramon had questioned that earlier today. Let me see. I think it's still called the post section. Yeah, posts. No longer called the community. It's called posts. Six plays right on over on the community page. Or I'm sorry, on the home page. There's Jover. Daddy Pete's in the house. There's our guy, Gerald Jones. UAB -2. 7-4 with his best bets. He likes UAB -2. Gotta take note. Heavy hitters coming in, dropping the bombs. The food dump here. He's dropping a bomb. He says Pacers money line. Says sup, buddy. What's up, food dump bets? Like that Pacers look, my friend. Bust them Knicks up. Joe W's here, and he likes Texas +4.5. Texas is going to bust up Bama. I think so. I think it's I don't know if they win outright, but I think it's a good price. It's a good price for an inconsistent. Can we say inconsistent at best for Alabama? Sneaky ninjas here. Irish King's on the other side, though. He likes a little Knicks -2.5. Well, you both can win. No, I guess you can't both win. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. See how that materializes. Terry Davis likes the intro. Appreciate that, man. Thank you much. Why don't get some more graphics in there? We'll see. We'll see if it gets a little revamp. Just keeping the song, though. The song's a must stay. The song's ready to roll. Robert McCormick's ready to roll. Irish King. Grab some AHL picks for fun. Who'd you take? He's got 2 NBA. Perky's in the house. Perky's got some action for us. Tennessee player over 13.5 points. Ziegler. Keep our eyes on that for our man Perky. Fernando Mendoza's here. Swizz is ready to go. Easy. Hell no. Irish King says no Memphis Phoenix. Well, maybe it's part of the parlay. I think the only game I didn't touch was that Bulls game. Couldn't quite get the handle. Swizz says unloading the clip. Man, it's been a profitable week. 7 days now, I think. 6 or 7 in a row. Yeah. And when you feel good, you got to open up. You got to fire on the book. You don't get conservative. You don't hear these guys saying, oh, I'm going to pass tonight. No, we're not passing. We're not fucking quarterbacks. We're out here to make some money. And we got to do this on the daily. So, almost a 6-unit night last night was nice. Let's see if we can do it twice. Carol Jones says, fave list play of the day. USC -4.5. Penn State on the fave list. Penn State has certainly been struggling to achieve expectation, at least my expectation. Jerry Davis's line keeps moving to Bama, and people still hammer. Holler in Texas. Don't get it. Peter Grosky is in the house. Says, pimp slapped the bookies last night. Let's go, my friend. Fernando says, sad there wasn't a UCL show. Went on a heater today, 12-3. Woo! Sub went on a little bit of a banger. We were catching some bets. We were talking back and forth on some plays. The free money of the day was it Haaland? Anytime goal scorer, and they boosted it at DraftKings. A little +125 action to get a goal or an assist. You got 2. That was fine by me. Peter Gracia, ready to roll. Perky says, I'm excited for the Florida-Mississippi State game. Did I screw that up? I did screw it up. Jerry Davis says, sub got me some cheese. Let's go, you guys. What do we got? Redbeard on Detroit Grizz parlays today. Raptors money line. Shot in Kentucky under 149. Okay. Jay Main's here. There's Ramon Scott. Our 51st state is so great. They get their own hockey team to compete against the rest of the state. I don't know if our Canadian friends find it funny, but I sure do. I saw that they have repealed paper straws today. They never worked. They tended to explode. Oldie Markel, appreciate you guys. Kelly V is in the house. She's giving you guys a little action here. She likes over in the Marquette game. We've got Swizz coming in with the Vols. Markel's had Mike Beasley 5 threes and 6 threes. A little ladder action. Kelly V's giving us a note. Says Detroit at Chicago today and again tomorrow. Same venue. And she's going to the under in the UConn game. Appreciate Stop Geo wishing us some luck tonight. J-Man likes a little Durin, 25 plus points and rebounds over in 5 of his last 6 versus the Bulls. There's a spot. There's a spot. Who do they like playing? Who is your daddy and what does he do? That's a free one. That's a free. I don't know if I'm showing my age with that one, though. Let's go. J-Man likes Cat over 24.5. You know what I should be doing? I don't know why I didn't do this a long time ago. There we go. Boost this up here. Perry's in the house. He's ready to roll. J-Man says they may win, but can't take Pacers, though, after losing to Austin Reeves. Two cans in the house. That intro deserves a Grammy. Have it on the TV nice and loud. Ballers. That sounds like ballers. I was just talking about ballers last night. Shout out to Nasty Nate. I don't know if you want to be into blue waffles, but if you just hit the like button, you don't have to worry about it. Let's go. AOD says a little Real Madrid money line. I had that. You guys know I had the draw. I had the draw plus 300. Broke my heart to see it with just a couple seconds. Andrew G says the Four Nations are starting up tomorrow. Yes, sir. Let's go. Let's go, KV. Pay attention, KV. Here's a free lesson for everybody. Look how many people are watching now. Look how many people are watching now. If we started 15 minutes ago like y'all wanted, guess what? People be coming in here saying, did you make this play? Did you make that play? Guess what? We're ready for the plays right now. Right now. And since we're in a content space, if you don't mind, I'll be in charge of the content. Appreciate everybody rocking here tonight. It is time to get to work. I see our guy, Ramon Scott. Some, it is Kindergarten Cop. It is Kindergarten Cop. This is a big news today. This is big news for the Raps. Big ups. They get their guy, Brandon Ingram, for a $120 million 3-year deal. And look, Ramon Scott, this isn't just a show about my picks, my trends, our trends. This is about you guys and your picks. So I appreciate you guys that are concerned about how we manage the time on the show. But if you get here earlier, we could go going early. I was ready to roll. We're sitting with 30, 35 people. That's fine. I want to see what they have to say. I want to see their plays. I value their opinion in this community because it is oh so effing sharp. But now you guys know, when you're in the content space, it doesn't do you any good when you don't have the full squad assembled and ready to go. NHL picks from Ramon Scott likes Wilkes-Barre Scranton plus 100 over Hershey. Bakersfield minus 125 over Tucson. Okay. I like that. I'll take a little speed with that. KB, look, see what I got to do? I got to delete your comment. Now you're on a warning. Let's go. You guys know the deal with the show. If you guys get in earlier, we'll be ready to go earlier. That's how we roll around here. But I do appreciate everybody coming in, dropping their best bets. Again, it's not just about the plays that I share with you guys. We work together as a community to slay these bookies, and we're going to do just that today. So let's get to work. It's go time. No hockey to get in the way. We got 35 minutes to fire, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We got Tennessee, a ranked game versus Kentucky. Let's take a look at the splits. You guys know the deal. We'll look at there's a lot of games that I could get involved with here as we go down this card. I'll fire them at you guys as we see them. Where the hell's this game? All right, Tennessee opens up as minus 1.5. They've now moved to 3. We now got some threes out there. We got 58% of the bets and only 45% of the cash on Kentucky. This line's moved from 146.5 down to 146. Maybe seeing a 147. We have 73% of the bets and 73% of the cash on the over. So the total's not doing anything. And the line's moving against Tennessee with, by the way, respected sharp bettors, 13% differential coming in on this Tennessee side of things here. The Tennessee Vols, 20-4 at Kentucky. And what do we know? We see these two squads. We see what we've seen. You know, first and foremost, Kentucky's kind of mediocre at best this season. They're 4-4 on the road. They're only 8-7 at home. 4-1, however, in that dog roll. Worth noting, in the dog roll, it seems like the books get it wrong. From a total perspective, at home, they're 9-6 to the over, but Tennessee battles with that stout, stellar defense at 2-6 to the under on the road. 9-13 to the under as a favorite. 9-15 to the under overall because they're just constantly a favorite. They're good. And they should be. That's why they're ranked number 5 overall in the nation. Caught themselves a slew of wins out there. They beat Florida 64-44 February 1st. Impressive W to completely just annihilate that Florida offense. I don't think that Florida offense is that bad. They roll out there. They don't cover against Mizzou. They go on the road to Oklahoma. They get things right, 70-52. And Kentucky, drops 3 of their last 4. Then they beat up a South Carolina team 80-57. Overall, as we were looking at this game, as I was prepping for this thing, I'll move plenty fast. Don't you guys worry about that here. But you know what we got? We got intersecting zeros. Of course, we love to get involved with those. We talked last night. Man, we talked about a lot of games last night, not just the ones that we pulled the trigger on, but a lot of W's out there. Boston finds a way to come through. Boston smashed. We'll talk about this game, though, when it comes to those intersecting zeros, and I kind of brought that up because I was talking about how I don't like to fade the team because they're in an 0-13 spot, unless I can find a correlating spot on the other side. We do have that with Kentucky. Kentucky comes in when they're between the threes on a total less than 164.5, and they shot greater than 45.5% from the field last game. They're 0-13-1. They shot well. There's a lower total, not expecting to see this thing be a shoot fest, a score fest, and the books don't know where to benchmark them because they're between the threes. 0-13-1, they lose by 10 points a game. Tennessee comes through on the other side of things. Hey, when they got a team that's allowing greater than 6.6 turnover per minute, turnover to assist ratio, greater than 6.6. Coming off that favorite role, Tennessee nukes teams 10-0 in those spots. So we took a little intersecting spot with this number 5 in the nation, and we'll jump in with Tennessee. And I believe we got Tennessee on the money line. A -138 at FanDuel. The fine friends at FanDuel posted a money line bet out there. I'm not going to lay points with the team on the road if I can help it, and I thought this was reasonable enough. 2.5. Theoretically, the nickel game says lay the 2.5. The nickel game, there's 5 halves and 2.5, right? Yeah. And you take a nickel times each of that half a point, that's 25 cents. That means, hey, if you're getting Tennessee for less than -125, you should lay the spread. I just think this is a tight game. I don't like the hook on that thing with that 2.5. If you can get some 1.5s out there, I could fully endorse taking the 1.5 because I do think it's the last team scores. It's going to be a tight game. They got to go on the road. They got to battle this Kentucky squad, but we're selling high on Kentucky after that big win. Let's not forget, one win does not right the stable. Those boys were struggling mightily before that. And 7 p.m. action opens up with some Tennessee money line. Game number 2 that we will pop into. Going to be Florida and Mississippi State. Ramon says, Embiid, probable tonight versus Toronto. AOD's hyped for the Pistons game. High-paced game. There you go. Look at that one, huh? That was some good money, Pete. Good stuff. Appreciate all you guys rocking here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Have you not done it yet, please take some time to do so we can keep her rolling out there. Sometimes the butt rubbing leads to the thumbs up button. But we got ourselves a battle here. Another nationally ranked extravaganza between Florida and Mississippi State. As we look at these two spots here, a lot of money coming, a lot of belief not in this Florida team, and probably because when you look at the SEC and you look at some of the road, you got to start scratching your head. This thing opened at 4-point favorites for Florida. It's now flipped entirely to 2.5 on the other side. 91% of the bets and 91% of the cash, with almost 32,000 tickets have come in. They like Florida. They like the number 3 ranked squad out there. Ramon, shout out to you. I heard you talking about it again earlier today. The lesser ranked team at home against the laying points. Excuse me. Let me start that over. The lesser ranked team laying points at home against the higher ranked squad definitely indicates somebody knows something. To that point, it's been a little 50-50 this time of the year. The total's moving on up. We love our overs and dogs. 151.5 moved to 154.5 with 57% of the bets and 50% of the cash on the under. It's a reverse line movement spot here at Humphrey Coliseum. And you got a little bit of a house divided. I mean, if you look across the board, 91% of the bets, 91% of the cash coming in. kind of makes sense. I mean, if you look at this thing, Mississippi State at home 7-9 against the spread. Florida's 6-3 on the road against the spread. Florida's they're number 3 in the nation. I'm not going to be so obvious with the statement here, but they're a balanced squad. They play offense. They play defense. You see that. The defense is indicative in the fact that in the favorite role, they're 7-13 to the under. And then overall, they're 16-7 against the spread. They just find a way to grind week in and week out. Now, they do have a loss. They do have a loss February 1st against Tennessee. They've only got 3 losses in the SEC. One of them came to Tennessee 10 days ago, 64-44. That was a road game. On the road, they have been somewhat inconsistent, as I mentioned. They played South Carolina on January 22nd. It's a 70-69er. They're laying 11.5 points. Then they come back out there. They bust up Vandy in their own building. They get the cover, and they go out to Auburn. They hand Auburn their lunch. 11-point dogs to Auburn on the road. 90-81. The question is, did this team flip the switch? Mississippi State, almost identical pattern to that last game that we talked about with Tennessee and Kentucky. 1-3 in their 4 games before picking up a road win at Georgia. They won outright, 1.5-point dogs. Now the question has to become, are they fat and happy? Are they complacent as we look at how they're going to approach this game? And hey, I think the answer is yeah. I mean, look, I just talked about these 2 teams being balanced. Let's go with some intersecting zeros. I mean, look, Florida, 8-0 against the spread after a game that they made 9 or more threes. When they're shooting lights out, they get the job done. They're finding a way to cover spreads. It's Mississippi State, though, that's at home when they don't have a rest disadvantage. I don't know. I think it just has to do with rhythm. With the rest disadvantage, they just played. They're fresh. They're just kind of in basketball mode. That's not the case here. They got a little schoolwork to do. They got some fucking around to do. They got all kinds of practice stuff happening out there. And practice in this case don't lead to championships for these guys. When they're off a win and they had a assist-to-turnover ratio greater than 1.5. Ball flying around. And they made greater than 4 threes. They're 0-11 at home. Rest disadvantage does not exist. They got a win, and they made some points. Well, we see here with their record that they're just one of those teams that they got that W off of Georgia. That was a big spot because it was a desperation win. And what happens in those spots after those desperation opportunities is they just don't follow back up. They're flat. They're one-dimensional. They're linear, whatever you want to call them. They have a tough time. And I think Florida, you see the 64-44, despite losing to that Tennessee game for Florida, they still came out there and punched some defense. They took one of those better teams in the offense in Tennessee across the nation, and they shut them down to 64 points being relative. They just couldn't get anything going. And since then, they've been able to get it going. We're going to go back to Florida. Going to take some Gators. Like this Gators look here. I'm looking at the numbers, and I see a +2. That's the way we're going. Again, similar situation. Bucket, basket. Maybe I feel comfortable. Maybe I feel safe. Maybe that's the wrong play with feeling safe about it, but you can take the money line. I just took enough money lines that I thought this is a good opportunity for me to jump in and take that +2 in the back pocket. I'd rather have the basket than not on the road. I told you I'd rather try to stay away from that situation of laying points on the road. If I can get them in the back pocket, so be it. +124, on the money line, you have 76% of the bets and 70% of the cash. It's still moving away, though. I mean, it's kind of the Mississippi State money line's gone from +160 to +155. You have 24% of the bets and 30% of the cash on Mississippi State. It's gone down a nickel. Not enough of a move for me. I'll take the 2. Probably can get better numbers now. Probably can get some better numbers now. Let's see. Every time I click that, it doesn't do it for me. Every time I come here. Let's go. Florida. 2.5. A little bit of movement still against this Gators team with this Mississippi Dogs. I'm going to go with Gators, though. I think the Gators chomp. Trisha M's Gators in play for me tonight as we move down the board. Brisk pace. Keep her moving. Gots to keep her moving. Let's go. Let's talk about this next game here. Lots of college basketball. Purdue, Michigan. Lots of early basketball, by the way. Number 7 versus number 20. Big Ten Dallas. This should be a great game. We have a revenge opportunity at play. We've got Number 7, going on the road to Michigan. And we talked earlier about how tough it is to travel on the road with the Big East. 80% of the bet, I think that probably exists for all conferences, though, with all due respect. They're good at home and they just don't travel so well. They're young guys. They're young kids. Purdue opened at +1.5. It went as high as 2.5. It's come back to 1.5. And this is the second or third largest, highest ticket count on the board. So we have 80% of the bets and 72% of the cash. Lots of money coming in. It is starting to kind of move back a little bit. I guess you got to shop around and see what the number looks like. 65% of the bets and 66% of the cash love this over. They want to see this thing go high, flying over the number. And again, look at this. I mean, 11-2 and 10-2. This one's going to have some implication, I think, in seeding. And so, obviously a revenge situation. They played previously. Purdue busted up Michigan. Overall, again, looking at these two teams, Purdue's consistent. 14-10 overall against the spread. They're 6-4 on the road against the spread. Michigan's only 6-5. When Michigan's at home, the total goes over the number. 7-4. Purdue's an over team at 14-9. Michigan's gone under the number 3 of their last 4, and they've picked up 4 straight wins. They beat up Penn State. They beat up Rutgers. I say beat up. They're not covering spreads, is what it's coming down to. They're just not a spread covered team. They're grinders. They're trying to find a way. Maybe they got that hot city action with Michigan, and the Wolverines are no longer national champions here from the football side of things, but they're grinding. But so is Purdue, man. They've gone 3-1 against the spread in their last 4 games, and it's pace. You better be ready to keep up with these guys because they will put you to bed. Nighty-night. They won't even give you a bottle when they put you to bed. They bust up USC 90-72. It goes over the number. They bust up Iowa at Iowa 90-81. It goes way over the number. They bust up Indiana 81-76 over the number. They bust up Michigan. There's that revenge spot. This is a very similar situation that I thought before. 91-64. You couldn't get it done the last time you played them, Michigan. Now you're going home. So this is a little bit of a different twist than what we like to see. But it goes over that number. They go against Penn State or Ohio State. They go over that number. Purdue's an over squad. Michigan does their best to hang on, and they're seeing that it's just not enough to cover spreads. And I think what happens here is when the foot gets put on the accelerator, it's going to get ugly. Overall, Michigan's found those wins, not covers, so they're kind of getting some momentum. If you were going to play a side, I could see why you'd want to be on Michigan. Overall, they average more points a game. They're averaging 81.7. Purdue's averaging 78.7. Michigan's a great rebounding team at home. They bounced back 12-1. They're a 12-1 bounce back squad out there. But overall, why does Purdue run? Because they got guys like Troy Kaufman that are putting up 20 spots. He's averaging 20 points a game. Tricky. Both these offenses can hum, as we just talked about. And you look at this total with the numbers overall behind it. I got to get to the over in this game. Purdue, as I mentioned, exceeding 80 points in 4 consecutive games. Both teams, not the best defense, top 80th overall. They're kind of like that top third of college basketball, maybe the top 4th of college basketball. So it's not like they're the best, defensive oriented. It's not like we're talking about Tennessee or Florida. I think this is a flip the gears situation out there. The first game they came out, they put up what did I say that total was? Excuse me. It was 155. Why was it 155? First of all, the number was 151. Why was it 155? Well, because Michigan couldn't keep up with the pace that Purdue ran out there. Granted, it was at home. I think this is a situation where we see this number fly over the total. They play fast-paced. They don't have the best defenses out there. And we just saw this thing clip the number the last time around. So, yeah, Michigan's got revenge on the mind, and I think they know the only way they're going to get that revenge is by going out there and scoring. So we'll take it over. We'll keep her flying. Over number on this thing, over 151.5 is presently available. And so that's the way we're going to go. 151.5 at -115. 6 bet points. I think we're seeing this thing is still on the uptick at 152.5. Again, another 7 p.m. start. And I got 2 more games in college hoops for you guys as we keep her moving. Once we get started, train gets on the tracks. It don't stop. What's going on here? BYU, West Virginia. You know my situation. Whoops, what happened? What happened? There we go. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I did something to disrupt the flow here, boys. Sorry, my bad. My bad. KV, by the way, I only deleted your comment. You're so welcome to make comments. You're just going to have to catch some grief from them. UCLA, Illinois. I'm sorry, BYU, West Virginia. Excuse me. Like I said, I just got out of sorts here because my monitor just pinked out, I guess. Here's a little hybrid intersecting zero trend. So I don't see any of the splits. I don't know why this game of all the games doesn't have any split information. I'm on record. I've told you before, I think it's a tough place to play. It's a tough place to travel to in Morgantown. West Virginia is a special kind of excitement when it comes to their college sports. Never been. I'd like to go. That's one of those places. I'm not a big go to the live sports games guy, but that seems like that's one of those spots we want on the bucket list. 137 and the total has dropped down to 135.5. It's an undertown for sure. And BYU's awful. This total opened at 2. It's gone to some 2.5. So I say awful. I mean, they're 15-8. Both teams are 15-8, of course. You can see that plain and simply. Here's where the intersecting zero comes into play. I'll just keep this one simple. I jumped on Cincinnati. Pretty straightforward. Shoot right from the hip with you guys on this one. I'm sorry, I jumped on Cincinnati. I'm thinking of another under. BYU finds themselves 0-12 when they're between the threes and the total's less than 156.5. That between the threes trend is so crucial because that's that spot where the books don't entirely know where to put the number. And so when they can't get their algorithm right for teams that fall into this 0-12 situation between the threes, we want to execute against them. Cincinnati, after they made 5 or more threes, that number tends to get inflated when they're a favorite of less than a minus 275. So they're not a huge favorite, and they came off a game that they made more than 5 threes. They're 11-0 to the under. So the intersection point for me on this one was kind of hybriding these things together and saying, well, unders lead to favorites. And we saw a team where the books don't know what to put out there. Let's take some West Virginia. Let's take them at minus 135. I took a little WVU. See the Mountaineers go out there and handle home court advantage. And I just talked and hyped up about how difficult it is to get out there and play. So I'm on that West Virginia side. Shout out to Trisha M. Trisha M, I'm on your Gators tonight. Gators action. UCLA and Illinois wraps us up here in college basketball. Brisk pace here. This one starts at 8 p.m. and then we'll fire away. I told you guys I got another fucking, 30 games at least to talk about throughout the late slate tonight. I'll at least be able to have opinions and sides for you guys, whether or not we actually pull the trigger or live bet. Man, we were 4-1 live betting on Saturday's college basketball action. So, yeah, it's a real thing. And this one here's I'll call this one the buzzsaw. When you're hot, you run into the buzzsaw. Where's the numbers that we talked about? 3, 5, and 10. These are my key numbers. I know everyone talks about football and basketball key numbers. These are my key numbers. When you got 3 spots in a row, whether you're home or road or you've won 3 in a row, it's difficult to get to that next hurdle. Then you got to bust through the 5 hurdle. You can smoke through the 4, then you got to get to the 5. Whether you played 5 straight road games and you're coming back home, difficult place to play, or vice versa. Or you've won 5 games and you're trying to get that 6th one. And the last number is 10. Anytime we get to 10, I start looking for reasons. Automatically fade. Fade away as much as you can. I don't believe that thing has the legs to stand on its own that far. It's just tough with professional athletes, even college athletes, prepping every day, practicing every day to do what they do. And that's what we find ourselves in with this situation. We've got UCLA coming in here on a 5 or greater game win streak, and that's the number we want to be invested in. 43% of the bets and 73% of the cash have jumped in on UCLA. It's gone from 5.5 down to 4.5. Seen some 7s. I mean, this number's kind of a little bit across the board. 147.5 has dropped down a point, and we had 67% of the bets and 64% of the cash on the over. So we have a little bit of reverse line movement and a battle. Now, arguably, maybe it's not arguably, the win streak started when Cronin went out there and shit-talked the boys in UCLA. As he does. His right. Maybe he's a motivator. They're winning, but they're not covering. is another factor that goes into there. 3-2 in their last 5. You're not going to be making money at 3-2. 3-2, you're going to be up maybe a half a unit, maybe. And you certainly can't be profitable in that situation long term. They just beat up Penn State. You guys I love it. Penn State's on the fade. I don't love it. I wish it wasn't the case, but they're on the fade list. Michigan State's a piece of shit team, in my opinion. They're on my fade list. I can't ever get Michigan State the right way. So UCLA's got 2 of those W's. They did get a big one out there against Oregon. They were at home. Oregon's still adjusting to life in the Big Ten, in my estimation. It's going to take them 2 years to get back on the map and be a Big Ten capable foe. On the flip side, Illinois struggling to find consistency. When they win, they cover. When they lose, they don't. Pretty straightforward. They either bring it or they don't. Now, they had 3 of their last 4 games on the road, so they're settling back in for a little bit of conference play here with a nice little home run against them. And they just handled Minnesota at Minnesota, 95-74, 6.5-point favorites. That seems to be the number that they're pegged with pretty much across the board. 4 of their last 5 have been in that 6.5 range. So you're not really picking up any tells from the total, so to speak, or from the side, I guess is what it comes down to. But here's what I looked at. I talk about the difficulty in playing in a spot where you run into the buzzsaw. After 5 or more, you're a road dog with 5 or more win streak. Those teams are just 9-30 against the spread when they meet an opponent that's averaging more than 80 points a game. Think about it. You busted up some teams. You're doing well. Mick Cronin has the big speech out there. They've won, not covering, but they're winning. 5 or more game win streak. Now you're playing a team in their barn. You're expected to lose. That team goes out and scores a lot of points. You're losing those games by 10 points a spot. Yeah, take yourselves some Illinois. The Fighting Illini seems to be one of those programs I like to pick on a little bit. So we'll do that, and we'll take the Illini. The number that I got for the Illini, minus 6.5 for the Fighting Illini. I gotta look up the origin of that name. Now 7s and 7.5s. So 8 p.m. start. Now the action's starting to come in on these guys here, and they're looking at this favorite team to crunch this UCLA team. And I think it makes sense. Makes a ton of sense to me. 6.5. A little juicy. Still hanging out there. A couple of them at minus 120. Not the book of concern, though. Not Fanatics. The fine folks at Fanatics are hanging at minus 7. So they don't have the best number. You know, when it comes to the mainline sports and Fanatics has the best number, we try to stay away from those spots because they're my kryptonite anyways. So historically across the board. Here's a parlay for you guys. I'm jumping in on with the NBA. We'll talk about the side for the Toronto game. We're going to add the Memphis money line to it because Memphis is one of those teams that's heating up. I don't like this late line movement. Toronto's gone from 9.5 to 10.5. That's a concern. 56% of the bets and 53% of the cash are on the Sixers. It should be an Embiid night. We'll look at that in a second. 221.5's gone as high as 226.5 now. 89% of the bets, 89% of the cash on the over in this game. The Jover. I heard on Ramon Scott's show today a bunch of sharp guys that I respect their opinions talking about Scotty Barnes. Man, you got to look at Joel Embiid, over 42.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Scotty Barnes, I may get involved in his double-double. I was hesitant because I was waiting to see what the points were going to do, and the points are climbing. So that was a big concern for me. If they're expecting scores, then I expect them to have the opportunity for rebounds because they're not going to be scoring at 100% clip. So Toronto at plus 9.5 was the number that I locked in on this thing. And look, I think the Sixers peaked. You know, I think they're feeling good about the Brandon Ingram thing. You know, obviously just signing him to that 3-year, $120 million contract. There's like goodwill back instilled within the organization. And this is probably a game that the Raptors end up winning the damn thing outright. I know it's hard to say that because they lost 4 in a row. They are 3-2 in their last 5 against the spread. They're returning back home after an OKC and Houston trip, which is good. It gets them out of the cold. It's been miserable and chilly up here around Lake Ontario. So a Texas trip, probably not so bad for them boys. And they're traveling in first class, so it's not that big a deal. The Sixers do return home after back-to-back games, but I mentioned they beat Dallas 118-116. They didn't cover. They found a way to hang out against Boston on February 2nd, and it's just been all downhill since then. Miami at home, 108-101. The Jimmy Butler saga. They lose to Detroit at Detroit, 125-112. Cade Cunningham and company smacked him in the mouth. And then the Bucks, the lifeless Bucks here with a 135-127 spot against them. They were favorites, and they get down again. This team's peaked. Peekaboo, motherfuckers, you're done. And now we're looking at this thing again. Goodwill coming across the board. We'll see if he plays, but Podol and R.J. Barrett. Now, if R.J. Barrett's out, which it looks like he is tonight, concussed, that's where we have to pivot and we have to take advantage of our boy Scotty Barnes and his double-double. That makes sense to me. Absolutely. Ladder him up a little bit out there. You know, R.J. Barrett leads the team with 21.6 points in scoring. Scotty Barnes, when he's out there, when R.J.'s out there, he's got 6.4 assists per game. Podol's the rebound guy with 10.1. Well, if those two dudes are out, Barrett and Podol, someone's got to pick up the slack, and that's somebody, Scotty Barnes. So get down with that. I can certainly appreciate it. A couple other spots that I had when I looked at this game. First of all, again, I mentioned the peaking situation. The underdogs have covered the spread in the last 10 Sixers games. The dog. And they peaked. So I want to get in with that plus 9.5. Another spot that I jumped in on with this Toronto game, and then look, Memphis, I'll give you Memphis real quick. Memphis, you kick the shit out of. Memphis is one of the best bounce-back teams in the league. Grizzlies have covered 12 of their last 14 after a loss. We'll see whether or not we get Ja Morant or not, but 8-2 in their last 10 games. The Suns are 1-3. Instead of laying the 4.5, I opted to carve that thing up and go to just the money line. Way too much talent out there for this Memphis squad. They're feeling good. They're grinding right now. They got their parts back together. They should go out there and handle the Suns. So that was the parlay. But I did jump in, and I got the under involved in this Toronto game. Why? Intersecting zeros. Not just intersecting zeros. We got a 26-0 trend to the under as well. How about that? 26-0. Reminds me of the time I went on another show with another channel, and I said I got something that was like 81-0. And it lost. And I got some grief for it, but hey, trends are our friends until the end. So 26-0, teams off a road loss as a favorite in a game that went over, and they shot the lights out. If it's a lower total the next game, they've gone under. Road loss as a favorite. Game went over the number. You contributed because you shot better than 51.5%. And the total's a low number coming back in as a 26-0 to the under spot. Now I had R.J. Barrett out of this game to that equation. The Sixers are 9-0 to the under in revenge spots when they're in the favorite role from 7 to 10. Sixers in the favorite role. Now this is bunched up. Well, 10.5 is the high number of that thing. We're seeing some 11s. So whether or not that neutralizes and cancels out or not is irrelevant. But the Sixers in a revenge spot, in the favorite role, they play some defense. Now, Maxey, I thought was going to be out of this game. I haven't seen the official roster, but I thought I read that Maxey was going to be out. Grimes is doubtful. And Toronto's 7-0 to the under when they're sporting less than 3 days rest after a spread win that goes to the under in those spots. So there's a couple things to kind of bite on with this game here. The big one for me just came down to the fact that, looking at these two teams, I want to get involved in the 9.5, but I parlayed it together to make some plus money, get some capital, expected value, some EV out of this thing. But I look at this under. I know the total's moving. It does make me a little apprehensive. Maybe that means Maxey isn't. Is that what you think that means? Does anybody know if Maxey's in or out of this game? I can't see it. Can't see it. Robert Franklin likes Barnes under 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Yeah, Memphis Grizzlies. No Cade, no Ivy, huh? Sneaky Ninja, I like Loyola, my man. AOD says Sixers soft to sharp. I mean, the hot city theory. All right, Rick Chase talking Maxey over 25.5 points. Did I chase our girl Kelly out of here? I hope I didn't. I haven't seen her comment. KB, if you're still listening, you know we love you. All right, you guys, last game for me on the card here tonight. We'll get her out of here, put the bow on the show. Appreciate everybody watching. If you kindly could smash that thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. That's what we need here. More thumbs up. More, and I only got 2, and I can only give 1. So we need you guys to help do your part smash that thumbs up button. We'll talk Grizzlies and Suns here. Actually, I'm sorry. No, I fucked that up. Excuse me. TNT game, 7:30. Pacers and Knicks. Pacers and Knicks open up at -1.5. It's gone to 2.5. The Knicks have caught some steam, despite it's reverse steam. 72% of the bets and 77% of the cash have come in on the Pacers, and the line's moved a point to the Knicks. -1.5 made it more favorable to bet the Knicks. -2.5, or more favorable to bet the Pacers. This one is the highest ticket count of the day with 41,000, just under 41,000 tickets. So all the money, public loving themselves some home dog action in the Pacers. It's moving to the Knicks. This total shot up like a rocket ship from 235.5 to 242.5. 83% of the bets and 84% of the cash on the over. It's correlated movement. Karl Anthony Towns, Brunson, Turner, Halliburton, you say it. And this is why I think this total is moving. We got Josh Hart. You name it. It was probably a good TNT game. I'm glad we're streaming this one live. I bet you the only guy I would consider an under on is Precious. He's too precious. I think everything else screams over in this game. Indianapolis has a 51-16 run to the over when they're after a loss and they attempted more free throws than their opponent. If you get more free throws and you're not connecting, you're keeping the score down, you're sandbagging for that next game, aka you're buying low. And you got yourself in a 51-16 spot in that situation. Flip side of things here, we're not at the Garden. I know that I'd like that we were, because I'd like to see more points on deck with this thing. But man, the Knicks, 4 of their last 4 games have gone over the total, 3 in a row at the Garden. Yeah, they're scoring 112, 124, 121. Boston, they still got 104 on Boston, who put up 131 on them. So the Knicks should be able to do their part. And this trend points to the Pacers being the over team. They lose 124-117 to the Lakers 3 nights ago. They've gone over in their last 2 games as well. We're starting to see the Pacers get back to pace. Pacers rolling pace. Miles Turner's going to be out of this game. OG Anunoby is officially confirmed out of this game as well on the other side of things for the Knicks. I'd prefer it to be a fully stacked and healthy roster, but the line's moved for a reason. We're going to chase that steam a little bit here, I guess, what it comes down to. We're going to take the over in this game. Again, you didn't get the free throws. You came up with now it's the Lakers. Okay, the new look Lakers, despite no Mark Williams, certainly fired the other night with the with the Luka Doncic debut night. But, I think that's the deal. I think we got to go close this thing off. I'll tell you what. I was tempted to double dip it. We'll see if I get to the double dip status, because I think there is a lot of value on both the first half and the full game. That number is just getting so damn high, though. Man. Point says Maxie's in. All right. Okay. Matthew Green in the house says, what's the best bet tonight? Florida Gators. J-Main says Gafford's out. Yeah, Joe T says Maxie's looks like he's starting. Yeah, I agree. I think so, too. I didn't see him on the list. I thought I did. This is why this time slot's the best time slot. The best time slot. A lot of good people assemble here. And guess what? We get all that latest information, all the latest roster news, all the updates, all the information you guys need. Red Pierce just gave you a ton in here. Matthew Green. Well, Matthew Green's a new name. I haven't seen that Matthew Green here commenting, so I do appreciate that. If I had to pick one, I don't like to pick one. If I had to pick one, it'd be the Florida Gators spot out there. We'll see how this night materializes for you guys. Hey, you know what? For kicks, to close the show, I put this together. DraftKings has a boost. Try to take advantage of all those boosts that are out there on DraftKings. And I'll share it with you guys. I did a little parlay action here I'll tell you what, smacked my 5-1 or 5-legger last night, smacked another 4-legger on top of it. Seeing the board pretty nicely right now. So I'll just rapid fire this at you guys. You can go back and I don't have it tracked. Just something I'm playing for you guys, but I'll share it with you. I'll share it with you here since we're all friends. We're at the 7 o'clock hour, the witching hour for the bookmakers, as we try to get paid. I went with Florida over plus 1.5. I've got the Michigan Purdue game over 152.5. West Virginia on the money line. I took Marquette to beat the shit out of DePaul. I think that's inevitable. 17.5. The total's dropping. It's showing us all those numbers for a reason. And then Air Force to clean up against UNLV. Not clean up, but plus 13.5 on the road. This Air Force team is a little 5-legger that comes out to about 35-1. So I took a boost with DraftKings. They had a nice 50% boost on that thing. That makes it 35-1. Florida plus 1.5. The over 152.5 in the Michigan game. West Virginia, Marquette minus 17.5. Air Force plus 13.5. Appreciate you guys rocking with us. Appreciate Fernando Mendoza blessing the evening, the slate's action here with the $4.99 super sticker. My man, appreciate that so much, you guys. We are viewer supported. So, yeah, you know what? We spent a little time getting the show on the road, but we got up to 140 plus rocking with us. Hey, 10 minutes in, we got 20. We got to do better to get here earlier. And I'll kick it off earlier because I certainly would like to be done before the 7:30 live stream so we can get this action placed. I do want to shout out my man Redbeard coming through again with the super sports money membership. 2 gifted memberships for our man Redbeard and Fernando Mendoza with the $4.99 super sticker. You guys rock. Thank you for being a part of this community, helping us grow this thing. Coming in here, everybody being prepared, ready to share their best bets. Now we got to get to the window. So go out there, get those bets placed, grab yourself a cocktail. And we'll be over on Kick, kick.com. I'll put it in the chat for you guys so nobody misses it. Kick.com/sports-money. You know what that means. There's games out there. You're going to see them. You're going to see them live. We're all going to be on the same time. No spoiler alerts. I'll see you guys real soon. Appreciate you, Sneaky Ninja. Shout out to all you guys. Hope you have a great night. Get that money and get a cocktail.